Men of Reddit, what is something that women will never understand? Our ability to just sit there, space out, and think about absolutely nothing. A lot of us will go a very long time without receiving a compliment on our appearance, especially from other men. If we're watching TV and you get a call from your sister or your mother, please go into another room to take the call. When you ask what I'm thinking about, and I say nothing, I mean it. There was literally not a single thought going on in my head at that moment. I straight up had my brain in standby up until the moment you asked what are you thinking about. Women I've talked to don't seem to understand that, but the men do. I realize that this is a generalization, and that exceptions likely exist, but in my own experiences that's what I've found. Brother, my wife is a psychologist. Every time I say nothing she says, you have to be thinking about something. The only way to think about nothing is to be dead. Then I start thinking about the argument we're about to have. The pressure of being expected by society to be the initiator and pursuer in any romantic situation. If you're not good at this, and struggle to learn how, you are likely to starve, metaphorically speaking, and live a life of solitude. By contrast, women are more likely to be hit on or approached even if they are shy, which has its own problems, obviously. But women will never understand this specific feeling of pressure. Not having any kind of seasonal decoration is fine. Using the default background on your PC is fine. No drawings in your personal calendar/notebook/diary is fine. I mean, it sure looks nice when someone decorates stuff, but a lot of men don't take the time or just feel any need to do it. You can go on car journeys without uttering a single word to each other. I very commonly never have to say anything to my dad and vice versa. We just know what the other person is thinking or what they want done. Hints don't work. They don't work on men. They don't work on women. They don't work in a box. They don't work on a fox. Either you said it or you didn't. We can hang out with our buddy all day and not ask any questions about their personal life. My mom constantly asks about my best friend's life whenever I finish hanging out with him, and I don't have any answers because all we talked about was sports or whatever video game we were playing. Some women do, but most will never understand the feeling when you cut your hair short and you keep dragging your hand up the back of your head because it feels like a hedgehog. I don't mind buying you your own fries. I asked because I actually want to eat all the ones I ordered. However disappointed you are when we can't get it up/keep it up is 100x less than the disappointment we feel. I won't believe you are flirting until it's been 2 years and you've moved on, or even realize it. We can see the signals that you're trying to give us when you're trying to flirt. The issue isn't that we're blind or oblivious, the issue is that we aren't sure whether we are interpreting the signals correctly. We don't want to be that guy who makes a move on a girl because we thought she was flirting with us, but she was actually just being nice. This goes double if you were someone we knew in a non-romantic capacity, i.e. friend, coworker, etc. If you're interested in us, just be the one to initiate and tell us straight up that you're interested. That a lot of us men are emotional people, but we often don't show it. The emotional struggle that we sometimes go through is really difficult, especially when we can't vent. I spoke with my brother over the phone. IILB asked questions about him. What's he doing nowadays? How is he? Does he have plans this weekend? My answer? I don't know. We didn't talk about that. What did you all talk about? Nothing, lol. Sometimes we want to just simply be alone. It doesn't mean we don't love you or like you, we promise. I desperately want to go to my family's beach house for a do nothing, think of nothing, care about nothing retreat from society for a few days, but no, my wife wants to go and do things and gets upset if I even bring it up, but then, suddenly, if I say okay, let's go together, suddenly we don't have enough money. Like, I could literally go with a loaf of bread, some cheese, lunch meat, mayo, chips, and drinks, maybe some simple meal stuff too, and be perfectly happy. But she wants to go do tourist stuff and eat out for every meal like it's some glamorous vacation. Not to mention our 2 dogs. She has a sister that have within walking distance from us, but every time want to go somewhere, it's who will take care of the dogs. Like God, Just let me be at peace with myself for once in a long while. When I say please give me some space, that is not code for try harder. Thanks for saying this. While this goes for both sexes, it's well acknowledged for women, but when it comes to men who say this, some women think men are obliged to be permanently horny, so to them it means try harder rather than exactly what it means when women say this. That if I leave something somewhere and you move it, I will no longer know where it is. The way men are portrayed in romantic comedies is nothing like real life. Ignoring a guy and making him frustrated to the point where he chases you down and forces you to love him is actually a crime in real life. Random erections, in random situations, out of nowhere, for no reason. Having to piss with morning wood. I see a lot of comments here about communication. Here is a real-life example of something that happened with my daughter recently. I hope it helps. My 22-year daughter had been seeing a guy for a few months but then noticed after a while he seemed a little distant. She asked my advice and said she thought she just needed to get out of her own head. I suggested she casually bring up the subject and see what he says. I also suggested she be intentional about making him feel safe. If he knows you can handle any bad news, he is likely to be more forthcoming. My daughter followed my advice. Turns out he thinks she's amazing but really doesn't see them staying together long term. Because he does care about her, he was terrified to let her know what he had been feeling. I told my daughter that, while I was sorry the relationship did not go the way she would have liked, I was really proud of her for making the guy feel safe, and for having the courage to bring up the issue with him. We care about you way more than you think. When we sidestep to unstick our balls. Glad to know there's an equivalent? Women definitely do the sidestep to unstick their underwear from their bits, too. We can go for years without talking to our best friend, and neither one of us thinks anything of it. The pain of getting your testicles eaten by an ant colony, getting revenge cause I stepped on an ant colony that took 2,000 ant years to build. As a man, I'm thrilled to say I don't understand this one. On men ants retaliate, on women they relocate. Men listen, we just don't remember every goddamn detail about your co-workers. I definitely have a fundamental incompatibility with people whose sense of affection depends on how much random trivia you can memorize. Just kinda holding your pee-pee for no reason. We do it with our boobs too, haha. Not all of us value sexual conquests over intimacy. That most times we won't make the first move because we're terrified of the outcome, so A. Be patient. B. If you feel something for us to, then act on it with bold actions because we don't get hints either. The fact that we can do nothing, think about nothing and be comfortable with that. That when we are quiet we literally have nothing to say and it doesn't mean we are in a bad mood. On top of that, wanting alone time or time with friends doesn't mean I don't want to be with her. The waistband technique. 1. You need to be direct with a guy if you like him. We don't pick up on hints. A good way to show it is by giving him compliments. Guys are so compliment deprived it's kinda sad. Honestly, whenever I get a compliment I hold on to it for a while, but girls get it all the time like it's nothing. 2. Being extremely annoying / rude / gay to our friends is a show of friendship. We will act very weird or say the meanest thing to someone and a real friend would respond with something even more offensive. That's just what we do. 3. Just because we don't talk doesn't mean we don't enjoy spending time with you. This one is kind of self-explanatory. 4. We don't know where we want to eat either. 5. We cry too. Happens. Life sucks. And it definitely shouldn't be seen as a not manly thing to do. 6. Sometimes we want girls to make the first move. We are nervous as S2. 7. We aren't unemotional, we just don't show it. The amount of times I'll just hide my emotions in public but sit in bed at night and feel unhappy is unreal. If you ask a guy if he's okay and he says I'm fine, he is probably going through some stuff. Be careful with our emotions, we are humans too, okay, that's all. Just kinds. Wanted to vent and this was a good way to do it. We often don't like your guy best friends because they don't respect us as your partner. We're dudes, we know dudes, we smell dudes' intentions. Most of the time, we can tell if he's really your friend or is playing the long game. Some of us are touch/attention starved, so any little compliment we get we never forget, which also leads to most of us being halfway dead inside. The crushing loneliness. Shrinkage. It shrinks. Why does it shrink? I don't know, it just does. I don't know how you guys walk around with those things. How difficult it is to receive validation on things you work hard on. Women will do their nails and have 15 people tell them how good they did. I'll rebuild a whole car and be lucky to have some guy tell me my car sucks. You can't always fix us. You can't expect us to be happy all the time, only that we don't take it out on you. Sometimes I'm emotionless. Like I don't feel anything and it can come off as mad, but in reality I don't feel anything, and that's not a bad thing. Just an emotional relaxation or break. Spreading your legs when you sit has nothing to do with disrespecting anyone. It's just a comfortable way to sit when you have balls between your legs, especially when it's hot. With that I don't mean the guys who unnecessarily occupy 2 seats. F these guys. Eyes front when at urinals or when it's not busy. You don't go use the urinal right next to somebody when there are plenty around. Kinda like pissing in the woods. You don't stroll up to someone and start pissing on the same bush when there's plenty of bushes around and you have to piss on the bush I am pissing on. That I can see a close friend that I haven't seen in 3 years. We can spend all day together and I have no clue how his wife, job, and kids are doing. Morning wood. Just the wood in general. Let's be honest, we still don't fully understand it either. It's a different person hanging between my legs. It's a free spirit and I can merely polite ask it to do what I want. Not being trusted to be alone with children, or even your own, because of your sex. When you are abused by a woman, being afraid to call the police or seek help, not only because you fear you won't be believed, but that you will be labeled as the abuser. That when you get hit in the testicles, the pain is so bad, due to all of the nerves, that men have been known to pass out from the pain. I don't. No. It's treated as a joke, but it's seriously painful. And there's like a phantom pain where you can feel it days after it has healed. It is true what they say. Women are from Omicron per se 7. Men are from Omicron per se 9. Just because we have a lot of tools, doesn't mean we know how to use them. That generally men treat emotional intimacy like women treat physical intimacy. It's not something you do with everyone, only with someone that means a lot to you. Sometimes you're not in the mood, and it's kind of f-ed up if your partner keeps pressuring you to do it. And it's really f-ed up if you do it and your partner goes and talks about it with all their friends. We don't speak hint. We are very direct. If you want something, come right out and say so. We internalize a lot because society has conditioned us that we'll be judged for sharing or expressing pretty much any negative emotion. People can say it's okay to express things, but the response makes it seem otherwise. Until then I'm fine is what we're going with. Most of us care way more about personality than physical appearance. You don't need to be a goddess, just make us smile and feel loved, the rest falls into place. Most of us end up ugly in old age anyway. The sometimes self-imposed pressure to not be like our dads affects a lot of what we do/don't do. That unscheduled gaps of silence is acceptable. Funny enough, usually it's me having those moments. My ex always complained about it and he then proceeded to get annoyed about it. I love silent moments in between friends and/or partners. That they are in fact, our kids too. My brother is going through this now. Somehow his ex was able to move out of town with his daughter without consent. Now he needs a lawyer so he can see his daughter for one weekend and pay for her flight back. His ex and daughter are already in town visiting one of her friends and it was the lawyer who told him they were there. He even sent me the handwritten letter he had to sign. It infuriates me from the perspective of someone who was the bargaining chip in our parents' split up, being the youngest and the only one still in school at the time. That men will often not get what you're trying to get us to understand. You have to say it with words. Sorry. It's especially frustrating for me because I'm mildly autistic and do not understand most innuendo, body language hints, or implied expectations. How vulnerable our nutsack is. My cinderblock head can take a couple punches, but one light kick to the balls and I'm down for the count. And probably throwing up. When we're mad at something, especially an inanimate object, we're mad at it, not you. If I'm pissed that my computer is giving me yet another error, or my lawnmower won't start, or that I dropped a chicken breast on the floor while I'm cooking it and I get angry, I am in no way angry at you. But please, please let me blow off some steam so I can go on. Please don't make me hide it because you think if I yell out damn it, that I'm somehow saying it's your fault. That if we have a BN, that it doesn't mean we think about dirty stuff. It just sometimes happens. Love me a good relaxation BN. You know you're relaxed and comfortable with no problems on your mind when it comes lurking. Here's one I noticed in my adventures in bouncing. Most men really don't want to fight. They'll say they do, they'll act like they do, but deep down most men are afraid to engage in physical confrontation. Not because they're afraid of getting hurt, more that they're afraid of being embarrassed. That's why you see a 120 pounds girl able to push her 200 pounds boyfriend back while he's telling the other guy you don't know who you're messing with. Two 200 pounds men fighting, I could get them apart like nothing. However, two 120 pounds girls going at it? F it. Call for help.